Okay, next we have The Departed. Obviously a remake, but there's a lot to like in this one. You've got the microprocessor sequence, shipping up to Boston, and some cute homages to pre-code gangster films. I'm thinking a strong B.
The homages are lame and the plot makes no sense, but my real issue is that Matt Damon saying he'll live with something being wrong for the rest of his life because he's Irish inspired Joe Biden's do-nothing approach to the presidency.
Shut it, Donnie, or I'll come over to your mom's basement and smack you. I love the microprocessor sequence and my boys Wahlberg and Sheen, but Matt Damon's Crypto.com Super Bowl ad last year cost me and many of my fellow Americans like $17,000 in retirement savings. I say it's a B.
I'm assuming Goodfellas is an undisputed S tier. The cocaine meltdown is Apex Mountain for Thelma Shoemaker's work as Scorsese's editor.
I agree. Plus you've got the Copa sequence and Pesci going to Pesci mode.
The ending reminds me of Michael Cohen, who is a liar, by the way, but I have to agree, S for sure.
Age of Innocence is next. You've got a phenomenal source novel, beautiful interiors, and Day-Lewis with a degree of repression he drifts away from in his later performances.
Repressed is Harvard code for boring. If I was in a movie with Winona Ryder and Michelle Pfeiffer, you couldn't call it The Age of Innocence, that's for sure. Age of... well, you catch my drift.
Sleepy Joe is right for once. Liberal cucks just pretend they like this movie and Alice doesn't live here anymore, so they can tell their girlfriends Scorsese is about more than gangster films.
Well, hold on. Alice has a real earthiness without losing any of the energy of Scorsese's other 70s work.
I'm with Obama on this one, Donnie. You start with the opening soundstage prologue referencing classic studio melodramas, and then those crash zooms bring straight new Hollywood heat. Really conveys the raw energy of meeting Harvey Keitel for the first time.
Plus, the child performances are pretty good, particularly Jodie Foster, despite her part clearly being cut down in the edit.
Jodie sucks. I prefer child actors who don't try to kill Ronald Reagan.
If Jodie had iced Reagan, this would be S tier. As it is, I think I can live with an A.
All right, we'll do a B for Age of Innocence and an A for Alice.
I can't wait to see Caroline Polachek and Red Moon and Venus on your fake virtue signaling albums list in December, Obama.
Moving on. Raging Bull. I know this is high on the Sight and Sound list, but for my money, it hasn't aged as gracefully as the other top-tier classics. I'm thinking another B.
That's woke garbage, and you know it. De Niro's insane weight fluctuations took method acting to another level here, and Michael Chapman's photography of the boxing sequences is luminous.
Yeah, but in between the fights, the movie sucks. If I wanted to hang out with a belligerent asshole for 127 minutes, I'd have served in your cabinet.
Hold up, Joe. I don't get that.
I'm saying this gopher ass clown never attended the meetings because he was always taking executive time on the toilet, desperately trying to make something happen down there.
I assure you there's no problems. Unlike with both of your eyes, if you can't appreciate the impressionistic haze Chapman gets out of those flashbulbs.
Okay, fine. Bull is an A. While we're doing De Niro movies, what about Casino? I see this as a classic B.
Hell no, it's not a B.
Yeah, Barry, what the heck?
It's a stylistic rehash of Goodfellas and doesn't do anything new other than the tacked-on ending monologue trying to reframe 3 hours as a historiography of American industry right before corporatization. That's pretty thin gruel and served late in the piece.
This is because you're afraid of Joe Pesci, isn't it?
Joe, I told you that in confidence. Maybe I'd feel different if you guys had invited me to Atlantic City.
I'm sorry I had to take Eric for the weekend, so there wasn't room in the car. Anyway, Casino is an aspirational American classic, plus Sharon Stone is the most convincing portrayal of womanhood I've ever seen on screen.
I'm going to move on. Wolf of Wall Street's one of your big inspirations, Donnie. Let's put it at B.
You can't just put every film at B, especially not the ones which are actually fun to watch. This is the only truly great performance in the whole DiCaprio run.
That's true. Corn Pop and I used to kick it with Howard Hughes in 29, and Leo acts nothing like him in The Aviator.
I agree, plus the two-tone color stuff in the first hour sucks, but I will say that Aviator kind of gets at what it's like to be a hypochondriac billionaire naked and alone in your mansion.
Aviator goes in C. Back to Wolf, which is another superficial gloss of capitalist critique over 3 hours of mid-comedy. Plus, it came out in my administration, and every one of those 180 long minutes could have been spent hunting down Edward Snowden.
The lewd sequence is a banger, but Jordan Belfort's fraudulent business practices cost me and many of my fellow Americans like 9 large in 1996. I say it's a C.
Uh-oh, I promised Michelle I'd lay the table before dinner, and we've got like 15 movies left, so it's time to start speed running.
Okay, Rolling Thunder Review is an A.
We aren't including Rolling Thunder, Joe. We agreed the documentaries will be a separate list.
Scarface is an S.
Scarface is a Brian De Palma film.
I agree, Scarface is an S.
Jesus Christ. Okay, Gangs of New York. Donald, I'm recusing you because your father was actually in the Butcher Gang.
Easy C for Donnie's racist papa. Plus, I always feel like Cameron Diaz wouldn't respect me.
CPAC it is. Okay, what are we doing with Hugo?
Hugo is mid. I saw a theatrical preview and knew it was nothing major, then watched the whole Democratic establishment spend all of December 2011 trying to convince themselves it was interesting because it was such a weak Oscar year.
Not me, I was busy trying to kill Julian Assange, but without 3D, it's not really possible to rewatch Hugo, so let's skip it for now. Okay, The Irishman. I know I said Silence was the masterpiece of Scorsese's late style earlier, but I think this is actually it. Marty takes similar material to Goodfellas and retains the humor, but pushes it in a whole new direction with Prieto's restrained image crafting.
I agree. This is a definite S. It's like a blues song painted in gray light about the impact of 2 world wars on the American working male psyche.
Blues songs suck, the CG sucks, and Irishman bored me within an inch of my life.
That's because you've never worked an honest job. Did you at least see yourself in the ending, De Niro friendless and alone in a rest home on Christmas Day?
That's not true. I wasn't in a rest home. What about Anna Paquin? Surely President Film Twitter can't excuse casting an S-tier actress and giving her no lines.
I spoke about that with Dr. Jill after the film, and she agreed it made sense for the story it was telling.
Do you seriously refer to your wife as Dr. Jill?
I call my wife Dr. Jill, and she calls me Buddy Joe. And at the end of each day, we go to sleep in the same bed, together. How's Mel?
I'm going to January 6th your house for that.
We have to move on. Irishman has the Action Bronson cameo, so it's S-tier. Here's another wild card, Kundun. I admire Scorsese taking the Dalai Lama's godhead seriously and the casting of Tibetan actors, but this is pretty conventional otherwise.
I haven't seen this one, but I respect any movie that pisses off the People's Republic of China and threatens the Disney Corporation's share price at the same time.
I haven't seen it either, but the Dalai Lama sold me WeWork shares in April 2021, and I've lost almost $140,000.
Joe, Buddy, Michelle, and I have said before, if you need financial advice, you should come to us first.